Tonight on Joy News Prime, Ghana records its worst press freedom ranking in nearly 2 decades, dropping 30 places in the latest Press Freedom Index. We have details for you shortly. The Inspector General of Police announces a nationwide crackdown on motorcyclists who break road regulations.
Because you've been patient enough to wait 9 months in your mother's womb. You did not complain. And you get to a traffic light that is going to take you 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to wait. You said you are impatient. And when you cross and you get home, where are you going? You are just going to wait and die.
And Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia assures government is taking steps to address the economic challenges facing the country.
Has not reneged on its development commitments to the people of Ghana in the areas of education, healthcare, and infrastructure development, amongst others.
For Muslims who fast every year in the month of Ramadan, going without food is normal. But what about new converts to Islam?
Two men, those who have actually fat and tall here, they are asking about time. How is your time, Charlie? The time is not going, crowd. Oh, well, actually, I think you get that experience. That's how it was. But in terms of let me go and eat, let me go and drink, no. I know what I'm doing the fast for.
And at 8, I will be handing it over to Beverly and Gary for Prime Business and Prime Sports. Beverly, what's coming up in your business?
So GRA to exempt traders with TIN numbers from the electronic levy. We'll give you reactions from Guta later.
So there's that those who have registered with the TIN number, the VAT and all that, some of these things will not catch on them.
So if I could be very clear on this one, with traders that have TIN numbers, then they're going to be exempted from the e-levy deductions?
Yeah, that's what the assurance have come. So in fact, this is how they are going to do to solve the issue of the double taxation.
Sports, the General Secretary of the Ghana Athletics Association says the country will break records at the world stage only if the state supports athletics financially.
These athletes have gotten to where the state needs to support them just to go and pick the medals. They've gotten to where the state just needs to support them to go and pick the medals. As a Mati 9.90, I mean, nobody in this world can say that this guy cannot win a medal.
Well, these and many more coming up within 1 hour. Please stay. This is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Also tonight, Ghana has recorded its worst press freedom ranking in nearly 2 decades, dropping 30 places in the latest Press Freedom Index. Now, the index actually compiled by Reporters Without Borders ranked Ghana 60th. The rankings come on the back of the recent reports that Ghanaian government has been clamping down on dissent and claims of a surge in press freedom violations. In the 2021 report, Ghana was ranked 30th out of 180 countries. But this year, Reporters Without Borders say government has become intolerant of criticism. Well, we'll be getting into the details of the report. My colleague Kweku Asante is on standby to help us with the details of that report. But what you have here right now is the situation map. You have Ghana right here ranking 60th on the Press Freedom Index. But Kweku Asante will help us understand what it is that is accounting for our drop 30 places on the index. So Kweku, first of all, help us understand our profile right here. What's accounting, first of all, for the situation that we find ourselves in? Quickly, we seem to be having a challenge hearing you, but if you could unmute and break it down for us. What we have now is the situation in Ghana. Obviously, there are a number of factors accounting for what's happening. There's the issue of the media landscape, the political context, and then the go-ahead to talk about the economic context and then the safety of journalists. But quickly, if you can hear me this time around, let's start off from the very first point that has been made here, the issue about the media landscape. What's really being attributed to the situation why we're seeing a drop in press freedom. Okay, so probably I could help you out with what we have here. If you look at the media landscape, it appears that clearly there's a challenge in terms of how the media is constantly evolving, but then we know that in Ghana we're dealing with a constitutional framework. The 1992 constitution obviously is authorizing new media outlets, and we know as well that we have about 100 media outlets operating here in our country. Now, the report is indicating very clearly that the most popular state-owned broadcasting corporation, which is GBC, is amongst that tall list that we have. But many of the press houses are now establishing internet sites, which the report is talking about. Then talks about the fact that there is a growth in reach for some media outlets, including Joy News, and the list goes on. But then, in terms of the political contest, there is the concern that obviously the country is considered to be a regional leader in terms of democratic stability, but that is no longer the case. So we'll break all of that down for you. But let's bring in Suleiman Ibrahima, who is the Executive Director for the Media Foundation for West Africa. He's joining us live on phone now. Thank you, sir, for your time. So the report is out there. We're about breaking down the details. But in your own view, did you see this coming in the first place?
The writings were all clear on the wall. We had talked about it. We had raised concerns several times, but it appeared that it was of no concern to the government. The abuses continued to happen, and so and just about 2 weeks ago, when I had an interview with the BBC, I did make it clear that if what we have been witnessing continues, there's certainly going to be a decline in our press freedom ranking. What I did not foresee was this significant drop. But certainly, if you think of it that it's not one country that is being ranked, but 180 countries, the possibility then is that some countries will do well, just as we have seen now. Traditionally, it's always been Namibia, Botswana, Ghana, Cape Verde are the top four. But suddenly we are seeing Seychelles Island come to be number one in Africa. Namibia, traditionally a great performer. And then we have Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Burkina Faso, and other countries are now popping up and actually doing well ahead of Ghana. So whilst we were dropping and deteriorating, others were improving. So it's a sad development, but that's the reality.
And there's a political context to the report that we are seeing today. In fact, the Reporters Without Borders is indicating very clearly here that government is intolerant of criticism. Are you also getting that sense at the Media Foundation for West Africa?
Well, that is the reality, and we need to speak the truth. That is the reality. And that is why the law on publication of false news is being applied under this government more than any other government since Kufuor's era, President Kufuor's era. Indeed, it's quite sad that it's been applied so rampantly at a time when the president who had spoken against that particular law and actually described it as unconstitutional is the president of our country today. The fact that a radio station is stormed, a journalist is picked up on the basis that he had put out something that is apparently false against the First Lady. It amounts to, using state force to indicate or to show where power lies. Eventually, what happened? The matter was taken to the National Media Commission, and the commission settled it and found that what the journalist did was unprofessional, and indeed, the journalist and the station could not back that up. So you ask yourself, if you knew the NMC option was there, why did the police storm the place in the first place? So as for the intolerance, I think that it is something that we all know if we want to speak the truth.
Well, but I guess the dynamics of the rankings is what some are yet to come to terms with, particularly when you look at nations such as the Republic of Burkina Faso, for instance, which is ranked 41 on the index. And yet you have a well-established democracy such as Ghana dipping down 30 places. This is a place where we know of the story, the security situation, and how deteriorating democracy is in such a territory. Why is it the case that some of these countries appear to be performing better than Ghana?
Well, first of all, the index is not democratic index. It's not ranking countries on the basis of democratic credentials, which then will bring in other factors. This is press freedom ranking. And so if a country is being governed by military officers, and yet the dynamics indicate that they are better off in terms of their ability and the freedoms that journalists have to exercise their fundamental rights. I mean, I don't think that the mere fact that that country is being governed by military dictators or military officers would then mean that necessarily that country would do poorly. It is the same organization that has been ranking these countries on press freedom for the last so many years. It is the same organization that ranked Ghana as #1 in 2018, and we all celebrated. And it's the same country organization that has been ranking Ghana, Namibia, Botswana, and the rest as the top performers. So, and indeed, as I said earlier, we had all raised concerns about what was happening. In February, I wrote 2 pieces. One, I highlighted the infractions that media personnel and media organizations are committing in terms of unprofessionalism and all of that. That is not to say, of course, that any abuses will be justified. The second piece was what I titled A Letter to the President, in which I was highlighting concerns about the rampant application of the law on publication of false news and the President's position on that law in 2011. Of course, we know that there are serious infractions against journalists that have not been resolved. Ahmed Swale, the storming of modern Ghana offices by national security personnel, the storming of City FM, City TV, the national security operatives beating up a journalist in Asankregwa, Latif Idris's incident, and so many of them, including the politically motivated closure of radio stations aligned with the opposition political parties. I mean, you don't expect that a country like Ghana, where we've gotten to in terms of our democracy, would be experiencing some of these developments. And so that's why I said it is quite sad that we are where we are today, which really has a very, very negative light on our credentials when it comes to human rights. But that is what it is. You know, we've been speaking about it. We've been warning. We've been raising the alarm. And then we are either abused, we are, said to be very biased against the government. In fact, again, by people who I would say I endorse the kind of journalism that they did that actually took them to exile than what they want today while they are in government. The type of praise-singing journalism, But right. That's the reality.
I see. Suleiman Ibrahim, just hold on for us briefly. There's more that we're learning about this report. In fact, we're still combing through the report. My colleague Kweku Asante is also with us. Kweku, now we do know that the report cited poor compensation of journalists. That's one of the reasons for this drop. How do they really explain that?
So if you look at the economic context for the report, it states, among other things, that media outlets face some form of financial challenges. And so that affects how media houses are able to remunerate their workers. And this inability to pay workers well could mean that then workers are self-centered, or then they start working in a way that puts them in the hands of politicians. But the other angle is also that if these media houses are facing financial challenges, then they are less critical of government, because we know in an economy like Ghana's economy, where the government is the biggest in terms of procurement, government advertising and other things, some media houses may not want to lose out on that. Right. And so they would decide personally that they will not cover certain stories, or they will cower. And so all these issues have been raised by the Reporters Without Borders as informing this latest ranking that has led Ghana to drop 30 places from the last ranking, where we were 30th, and now we are 60th. We were 3rd in Africa last year. We are now 10th in Africa. And countries like Burkina Faso, just like you heard Suleiman Abraham explains, now doing better than us. Of course, it's not about democracy, but the idea that a country that is ruled by a military dictatorship, which ordinarily will be seen to be clamping down on media rights, are actually doing better than a country that is being ruled by independence is something that people have been raising concerns about.
And Kweku, help us understand more about this. The COVID-19 period, we understand that during the lockdown, there were some attacks on journalists. Did they raise some of the specific situation or instances where some of these incidents happened?
So in the heat of 2020, when media was reporting about some of the measures government had put in place and some of these measures that others have raised concerns about its efficacy, some media personnel were attacked by security personnel. Some were attacked by independent media, independent organizations. We did not want these media men and women to shed light on the specifics. We actually also have situations when the food distributions and other things were going on. And so these specific issues were raised as one of the key issues. It also talks about attacks on the media or threats against journalists that no action has been taken against. You know the incident of Latif Idris. Up to now, the police say they are still investigating. We know there are threats that were made against Erastus Asaridonko by a certain member of parliament, Kennedy Japan. Still nothing of that sort in terms of the investigation has been concluded. And so all these issues have gone into the report filed by the Reporters Without Borders, which has slumped Ghana's record on press freedom. We know that it became a very big issue in the last few weeks with BBC's reports and Madame Elizabeth Ohene's rebuttal and all the issues that have come up. But clearly it doesn't look good for Ghana.
Kweku, and obviously I'm sure that there's more that you would unveil in the coming days. Suleiman Ibrahim, you're still with us. We've heard government on many occasions deny the fact that there's a crackdown on free speech. What should government be doing now when the verdict is out there for some? There's a scientific inquiry into what's happening with regard to press freedom.
Well, first of all, within a space of less than 1 month, the BBC have raised concerns about our press freedom credentials in a program that they produced recently. The U.S. State Department in its human rights report raised concerns about deteriorating press freedom conditions. And now Reporters Without Borders has done the same thing. We here in Ghana have been raising these concerns over and over again. Essentially, what these international organizations have done is to affirm what we have been talking about. We work across West Africa. And if you go through our report, you would notice that sometime late last year, we did commend the Sierra Leonean government for a significant improvement in their press freedom handling of press freedom issues. And it is therefore not surprising that you find it that for the first time, Sierra Leone does better than Ghana and is among, let's say, the top 50 countries. We have raised the same, significant positive development on Cote d'Ivoire. For the first time, Cote d'Ivoire is in there, ahead of Ghana. So I think that it's important we take these concerns that are expressed locally and internationally so important. We need to work on improving our credentials because we cannot say that we love democracy. Democracy has been good for us, and at the same time, not love press freedom and make press freedom what it has to be. If press freedom dies, democracy dies. And so we all have a responsibility. The government must stop this constant denial and let us all work together to improve press freedom conditions in our country. We are not saying that the media are perfect. Journalists do all manner of unprofessional things at all times. The laws are there. When a journalist commits a crime, the laws must work. But otherwise, I don't think that the way to go is to use state force to brutalize journalists here and there in a manner that is, so untoward for a democracy like Ghana.
Well, so I guess we'll have to leave it here. That's the Executive Director for the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleimana Brahima. In fact, there's more on press freedom as we speak. There's a caution coming through from the European Union. Press freedom is a key value for democracy that must be nurtured by all stakeholders. That's the advice from Ishad Razali, the head of the EU mission here in Ghana. The latest press freedom, as we are learning of, has actually downgraded Ghana by 30 index points, making it the worst assessment report in the history of the country's fourth democratic dispensation. Now, commenting on the latest development, Ambassador Ishad Razali says the Ghanaian authorities have a responsibility to deal with the situation. He, however, stated that the EU will not meddle in the political affairs of the country.
Press freedom is a key value for democracy worldwide. This is the case as well in Ghana. And for our case, we have followed with great interest and great care the follow-up to this case, because this was an important development. And last year, or this year, the government has adopted a right to information legislation, which only reinforces the press freedom, and we are supporting that very much, and we are welcoming that very much. So, as we've said, freedom, expression, journalism are key values, key capital to nurture. We have to do it together. You have your role to do that. We have our assessment, but the key actors are the Ghanaian institutions.
Already the international ratings are not giving us a good picture in terms of how we're performing when it comes to guaranteeing the safety of journalists. Do you feel that this is an area we should improve on?
No, this is part of the many responsibilities of the Ghanaian authorities, the Ghanaian journalists, the Ghanaian watchdogs, and other people who are looking after this area. Yes.
The opposition political party here in Ghana feels that there's a culture of silence which is creeping into our society, and there would be a need for the international community to intervene and to help deal with the issues. They've, for instance, roped in the courts, claiming that it's not as independent as it should be. Is the EU concerned about this? Have you received the reports, and what are you likely to do to mediate and to ensure that there is peace in this country?
What we are likely to do is absolutely not meddling into that development, because this is the responsibility of the Ghanaian authorities, and as far as I'm concerned, there is no civil war in Ghana. So there is absolutely no reason for us to impose ourselves into a situation. There is rule of law, there are watchdog bodies, there is an independent justice, and everybody is in a position to make its claim and to get justice served. So I would like to challenge the very idea that we would have a responsibility, or we would have a role to play in order to make things right into the Ghanaian landscape.
But the fear is we've exhausted all internal mechanisms, and that's why the main opposition political party is raising such concerns. Don't you feel that you're lukewarm about this? There's a need, at least, to have some influence to try and try and ensure that
I'm very surprised that in 2022, in the very country of Nkrumah, you are asking for external actors to have an influence on Ghana. Is it what you are saying? Are you calling external actors to have an influence over Ghanaian government or Ghanaian country?
This is what mediation is what we need. If the opposition political party had an option,
I don't believe this is a serious discussion.
They wouldn't have resorted to the international community.
No. I don't believe in international intervention into a sovereign country's affair.
The fear is we may go the path of other countries in the sub-region if you don't come in to at least speak to all the powers that be.
We'll see how it develops, but I don't believe this is the...
Let's focus on security now. The IGP has announced a nationwide crackdown on motorcycles to break road regulations. Now, he spelled out a number of measures to be implemented soon as part of measures to bring sanity on the roads, but most importantly, be targeted at reducing motorcycle deaths. Recent records show that motorcycle accidents are the leading cause of death in the country. As of February this year, over 230 lives have been lost. But to make this a thing of the past, the IGP, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, put out these measures.
If you are not precautious and we don't take action now, the next day it could be any one of us using motorbike who will be passing on or who have the leg or hand amputated. Is this something we want to do? So we want to say this, and it goes to my fathers, my brothers and sisters, carry it across. You don't lose anything. You don't lose anything. And in fact, you gain everything. If you stay for 1 minute to 2 minutes by the traffic light and wait for green for you to move on, you gain everything. You gain your life. You gain the life of your children. You gain the life of your parents. You gain the life of your uncles and aunties. And you gain your life of your brothers and sisters.
And you're welcome back. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says government will not renege on its efforts to get the economy back on track. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said the government understands the suffering of the Ghanaians and has adopted several measures in different sectors of the economy, especially education, infrastructure and agriculture, to alleviate the hardship citizens are enduring. He made his speech at the Black Start Square, where he joined hundreds of Muslims to welcome the new month of Shawwal following a successful fasting period. Here, excerpts of the Vice President's speech.
Has not reneged on its development commitments to the people of Ghana in the areas of education, healthcare, and infrastructure development, amongst others. In education, we have continuously strengthened our flagship education policy, the free senior high school, and we have not reneged on other pro-poor interventions we introduced, such as feeding our children at a basic level and also paying for their BC and WACC examination fees. We have introduced free TVET also to enhance technical education. In health, government continues to show strong commitment towards the National Health Insurance Scheme, and we have recruited thousands of health workers since the pandemic, contrary to the disturbing situation in the past, where health workers were left for almost 3 years without being employed. Again, in health, our hospitals for all districts, also known as Agenda 111 initiative, is also ongoing. In the youth development and employment, the government has ensured that no public sector job was lost or salary cuts implemented during the COVID-19 pandemic, unlike many other countries where public sector workers were laid off or their salaries reduced. Also, we have invested massively in entrepreneurial development and support to the youth in a bid to help create sustainable opportunities for our teeming youth.
The Chief Imam, Usman Nuhu Sharbutu, was particularly interested in the government's promise to invest in Islamic education and other scholarships to children in Zongo communities. Sheikh Karim Yao Shaibu speaks for the Chief Imam.
We have been informed about a number of initiatives to rehabilitate Islamic schools within the Zongo spread across the length and breadth of Ghana. We are also aware of the Arabic teachers who have been deployed and paid some salaries to be able to teach in Islamic schools. One of the key things of commendation is the scholarship, which we cannot forget. 40 students who have been taken outside the country to Cuba to learn medicine and come back and contribute to the health delivery system of our country. We are also impressed with the promise made with the Chief Imam. Your Excellency, Chief Imam says he looks forward for the time when we shall do the first shortcutting of the government's intended model Islamic schools in the Zongos spread across the country. The Chief Imam cannot wait and is waiting to see the day when this shortcutting will take place.
Now, following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, the two rakat prayers were offered at either the mosque or in their homes. Muslims are happy to be back following the easing of restrictions. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam joins the Ahmadiyya worshippers at the primary school, one of the primary schools in the northern part of the country, and now reports.
Unlike the last 2 years, where the two rakat open congregational Eid prayer was observed at homes and mosques following the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, followers of the Ahmadiyya Muslim faith converged at the Jujairil Gardens for the prayer. The prayer was attended by worshippers of the Ahmadiyya Muslim mission from all walks of life, including the young and old, most of whom dressed in white apparel. Persons who are sick and have mobility challenges were also wheeled to the gardens for the prayer. Upper West Regional Missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, Molvi Muzaffar Masroor Ahmed, led the prayer. Molvi Muzaffar Ahmed, in his sermon, urged them to cultivate the habit of giving to the needy, as it was the way of the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad Mustafa.
And he told us that Allah the Almighty say, Inna akramakum indallahi atkakum. The best among you, the human beings, in the sight of Allah is the person who is muttaqi. So I emphasize on the taqwa. And all the teachings of the Holy Quran is surrounding the taqwa. If the taqwa is there, the fear of Almighty Allah is there, then all the problems can be solved.
Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali called on the congregants to support the government and its mission to implement the electronic transaction levy, otherwise known as e-levy.
Fellow Muslims, on Sunday, 1st May 2022, the government, through the Ghana Revenue Authority, started the implementation of the electronic transaction levy, popularly referred to as e-levy. This is an opportunity for all of us to contribute to the development of our nation. Let us support the government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as he provides exceptional leadership for our country's development.
For some of the worshippers, Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Feast is also an occasion where they come home and reunite with their families. During the 2 years hiatus, most Muslims were unable to do that. Pharmacy Superintendent A.M. Abdullahi retired has been in South Africa for 32 years and often come home for the Eid, but halted following the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. He is happy to be back home.
These grounds were praying on. They are housing my former primary school. I was the batch of 1953, and I was the first to graduate from that primary school. I became a pharmacist, worked for Major & Co., worked for Ghana Police, attained the rank of superintendent, retired in '84, and went to South Africa. I'm back home for good.
And from sunrise to sunset, able-bodied Muslims are encouraged to abstain from eating and drinking as much as a sip of water throughout the month of Ramadan. For new Muslims, also known as the revert Muslims, Ramadan is much more than just a physical challenge as they struggle to go through the daunting task. Now, imagine embarking on this religious obligation for the very first time as an adult. In the following report, as Muslims actually end the month-long religious activity, my colleague Anas Sabit interacted with some of the new Muslim converts in Techima.
Ramadan is the time where many Muslims around the world take a moment to recognize and strengthen positive habits. The 30 days dawn to dusk abstinence of food and water is also accompanied by various acts of community and charity. For those who are newly reverted into Islam, Ramadan can be really difficult for them depending on where they find themselves, the family they come from, or the jobs they do. Fofie Nuhu, a son of a former Roman catechist, is fasting for the first time this year.
Yeah, my name, actually they were calling me Noah, but now I'm Nuhu. Yeah, and I started Islam last year. By this is the first time I started fasting, yeah.
He shares his first fasting experience with me.
You wake up around 4 o'clock, midnight, let's assume, or early dawn, and you just drink, and that's all, unless 6 o'clock. And water too is life, so it won't be easy for you.
For Nuhu, his greatest difficulty has to do with thirst, feeling a need to drink water and not necessarily hunger.
Even this work that I'm doing, you know that it's like we use a lot of water, and now you are not drinking, you are not eating, you are not doing anything, so it's very difficult. Like I feel difficult in terms of tastiness. It's not in terms of hunger, but tasty. And anything that I was in here, it's like anything like water. I just wanted to, actually the time to go fast so that I'll go and drink that kind of, yeah, that's how I was feeling.
Ada Yuri, now known as Nasiru, has been a Muslim for only 4 months. I've been into it for only 4 months. I admire how Muslims act and behave, and that is why I converted into Islam. Just like Fofie Nuhu, Nasiru's first fasting experience was a difficult one characterized with thirst for water.
First day,
I only suffered from thirst the first day because it is my first time. And I did not eat nor drink, but I suffered a lot. With both Nuhu and Nasiru working in a hostile, smoky environment, their quest for water is quite understandable for first-timers. And like many others who are fasting for the first time, the two shares with me how they sometimes glance at the clock hoping to hear the call to break the fast.
Even macho men, those who are actually fat and tall here, they are asking about time. How is your time, Charlie? The time is not going, crowd. Oh, well, actually, I think you get that experience. That's how it was. But in terms of let me go and eat, let me go and drink, no. I know what I'm doing the fast for.
And they say above 5, they quantity.
From 5 p.m., I usually check my time, and around this time, I don't pay attention to the time because it is too early. Away from the two, I visited the Techiman Central Market, where I met another revert by name Abdurazak, formerly known as Kelvin. Unlike Nuhu and Nasiru, Razak's first fasting experience was pretty easy because naturally he's able to withstand hunger.
I
reverted into Islam on a Friday. That was when Ramadan started. I started the next day and continued till the end, and many were even surprised at how I did that. However, Kelvin was nearly tempted to break his fast one of the days out of thirst, but he was able to overcome that call.
I
nearly broke my fast the first time due to thirst. At a point, I contemplated whether to hide and drink water, but I stopped because at the end, I'll be the very person to affect. Even though observing one's first Ramadan as a revert can be a little exciting and special, it may also be a little intimidating, and like these people have been engaging, several other reverts out there feel it is an opportunity to connect their hearts and soul with the Almighty Allah. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
And as Muslims across the country observe the Eid festivities which mark the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, the Municipal Chief Imam of Al-Sunnah Imam Idrisu Suleiman has cautioned Muslims, particularly the youth, to stay away from engaging in acts that go against the teachings of Islam and the laws of the country. He bemoaned the rate at which people ride carelessly on motorbikes during Eid celebrations and noted that Islam is against such celebrations. Correspondent Anas Sabit was at the Eid grounds in Techiman in our reports.
After a month of prayer, devotion and self-control, Muslims celebrate the accomplishment of their sacred duties during Ramadan with the beginning of Eid al-Fitr, or the festival of breaking the fast. In some parts of the country, some Muslim youth observe this day with activities which includes the reckless riding of motorbikes and other non-Islamic acts. Municipal Chief Imam of Al-Sunnah al-Jama'ah for Techiman, Imam Idris Suleiman, expressed worry at the situation and cautioned the youth to desist from engaging into acts that are against the laws of the country.
I call on Muslim, anything that is not lawful. You know, Ghana have law. We have law on riding, law on driving. If you try not to follow that law, it means you are not a good Muslim. So I'm calling on the youth. Those riding motorcycles like they are celebrating Eid, that riding motorcycle carelessly on the road, that is not celebrating Eid. And at the same time, we have some people too who do Salah dance. Salah have no dance, Salah have no jam, Salah have nothing like that. That is worldly things. So we shouldn't mix our Eid with worldly things.
Imam Idris also expressed worry at the way Muslim students, particularly girls, are being treated in the various senior high schools in the country with regards to the wearing of hijab for our Muslim girls. He's cautioning authorities, particularly in the education sector, to allow Muslim students to practice what the religion teaches.
Because of our lateness in doing infrastructure for education and so on, our children are being tackled in their schools to stop using hijab and so on, especially the girls. I want to call on the government that Ghana is a secular state. I beg on our friends and our Ghanaian brothers who are non-Muslims that they should try to allow Muslims to practice their Islam there, instead of forcing them to do some people's religion.
Some of the Muslims here have been expressing what the Eid means to them. They are excited about the situation, and Abdul Karim Hussein is one of them.
First thing, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm very, very excited that after going through this 30 days cleansing, Alhamdulillah, I've been alive to witness this great day, to come around with all these marvelous people and worship my Lord.
For Mubarak Hashir, also a Muslim and a health worker, he is particularly worried with the way the youth observe this particular day, especially the careless riding of motorbikes.
And now the biggest telecommunication operator in Ghana, MTN, says the country may continue to face challenges with the implementation of the e-levy until at least July. CEO of Mobile Money at MTN, Elihine, has been sharing his thoughts and solutions to the implementation challenges on the Super Morning Show.
So initially, the SIM registration deadline was end of March. That has been moved forward. Yeah. Now, in the implementation, that will now derive the use of the SIM registration using the GRA's common platform is now the July one. So essentially, that is when we get the full scope, and then we are able to complete the identification on either party. Right. And so with that realization and realizing we would not be able to achieve that now, is then the opportunity for those who may have been wrongly taxed to complain and get the refund. So that's why the refund process is
Right.
there. And that's why for this particular modified approach, the refund process will be different from when we go into the full implementation, because the conditions will be different.
So does that suggest that we will be having some of these issues and a requirement of a refund until July?
Yes, with the modified approach that we've implemented, we do not have visibility on the other side, so that scenario may arise. I was telling someone that usually you look at the scenarios and you look at the percentage occurrence. Usually for the kinds of transaction trends we see, people will normally not send money to themselves on another wallet. It will be to their bank account or from their bank account to their wallet. So that scenario itself is a very minor part of the total volume. And so once we put in an efficient refund process, it should be able to handle the numbers that will be on that side until we are fully operational on July 1 with the full scope.
Now, in Fansmim School, Agri Memorial, TIMR, Sporting and Igwafo Ibrahim Senior High School qualified for the main National Science and Maths Quiz competition on the first day of the Central Region qualification contest. Some students of Fansmim School and Igwafo Ibrahim SHS who spoke to Joy News are hopeful their schools will lift the national trophy. Maxwell Agogba has more from Cape Coast.
For the saints who from their labors swear, who live by faith before the world confess, thy name, O James, to be forever blessed. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
So in Fansmim School, they've qualified for the national competition happening later this year. We saw, this sometime last year in the 2021 competition. Some of the people, some of the old students I've been speaking to are saying that they are cautiously optimistic because in the 2021 competition, they saw something like this, a similar performance, very good performance, but at the national level, they got kicked out at the 1-8 stage. They want to be careful and be guided this time around. But as you can see, the boys are really excited that they've qualified for the national stage here in Cape Coast. What should we expect in the national competition?
We should expect the best from us. This time we are coming more prepared to win the national, so we expect more from us this year.
We saw something similar last year when you did very well at the regional level, but at the national level it didn't go well. What will change this year?
This year we are counting on God to show favor on us so that this year it will be better than last year.
Okay. What's your name again? What should we expect?
We should expect the best from us with God on our side. Still, the Infantipim vision still stands to bring fame to the school and also to win more contests.
What should we expect at the national?
We are coming. We are taking it.
One after the other.
We are just explosives to Cape Coast. We are bringing explosives to Infancy School.
Explosives here is dangerous. Don't bring explosives here. But what should we expect in the national competition?
Everything is going to be splendid. Everything is going to be splendid. We are going to blow your minds. We are going to blow your minds. Everything is
positive vibes. Yeah, but we are bringing the heat. Positive vibes, Charlie. Expect the best. Tell them that we are coming. Tell them.
Which school would you want to compete?
Present. You don't present. Besides, you have done it before.
And that's all we have for you here on Joy News Prime. I'm Blessed Sogah. Next is Prime Business.
Tonight on Prime Business, GRA to exempt traders with tin numbers from 1.5% e-levy. Gutta says this is a move to prevent double taxation. Plus, GIPC targets key investors to help reduce export of raw materials.
We are connected from farm gate to market and from factory gate to market. There's efficiency. Railway will bring quite a bit of that efficiency. So the problems are being tackled in a systematic and strategic way. I am Beverly Broom. Please stay for details. Let's settle for the details now. The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, Dr. Reverend Amisha Dayo-Uswamwa, says about 4.5 billion cedis in revenue is expected from the e-levy this year. Speaking to George Wiafe, the Commissioner General admitted that though the system may face technical hitches in its initial stages, expected revenue is set to be achieved.
Implementing the e-levy will ensure that the integrity of the data and the security of the data is not compromised in any way.
So this also came at a cost, right? Is it a cost that is going to be borne by the GRA?
In collecting of taxes, the Revenue Administration Act again gives the Ghana Revenue Authority to be able to do up to 3% as a retention from the collection of taxes to be able to for the expenditure towards the collection of the tax. Do you understand that? Okay. So for every expenditure that we will incur, because there's no way you can collect tax without incurring expenditure. Whether your software is developed by you or not, you have to buy servers. You have to, if you buy any off-the-shelf software, you have to pay annual maintenance cost for the software. You have to get people fit on the streets, and all this is cost. Now, the Revenue Administration Act grants unto Ghana Revenue Authority up to 3% of the tax collected for the purposes of administering the tax. And therefore, in collecting the e-levy, Ghana Revenue Authority will be working within that 3% that is granted to Ghana Revenue Authority. As we start this expenditure, even though no revenue has come in now for what do you call it, e-levy, but because we know you collect tax and we know that there is under 3% for us for the tax collection, up to 3%, and when I say up to 3%, it is for the Minister for Finance at any point in time to determine the exact percentage. And therefore our expenditure must always be within that 3%. And for every expenditure that we incur, as far as e-levy is concerned, we will stay within that up to 3% that's allocated to GRA.
Some months have already gone already, and we understood that the ministry has revised their target as well. In taking off with respect to this levy, what's the clear target are you looking at mobilizing before the end of the year?
Yeah, if you recall, at the inception last year when the budget was read, the targets, the expectation was that we'll be able to collect about 6.9 billion. And because 3 months have gone already, and we are starting in the 5th month, and then also in terms of the other ramifications, we have looked at the figures, and these figures have been revised downwards for the remaining part of the year. And currently, the expectation is that the e-levy should be able to bring in about 4.5 billion Ghana cedis by the end of the year.
Let's though stay with e-levy because it's 3 days of its implementation and already there are mixed feelings about the tax handle, from wrongful deductions to technical errors. But in all these, businesses that rely heavily on mobile money transactions are anxious about the impact of the e-levy on the cost of doing business in the country. President of the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, says GRA is set to exempt traders with tin numbers from 1.5% e-levy. Speaking on Business Live, Dr. Obeng stated that this is a move to prevent double taxation.
And then it have actually cleared some of the fears from us
in terms of the double taxation, because they have assured us that those who have registered with the TIN number, with the VAT and all that, some of these things will not cut on them. And so we are good to go.
So if I could be very clear on this one, with traders that have TIN numbers, then they're going to be exempted from the e-levy deductions?
Yeah, that's what the assurance have come. So in fact, this is how they are going to do to solve the issue of the double taxation. Otherwise, it's going to be a very huge issue. Are we going to take it out at the end when we are filing our taxes? Or you are going to make a mechanism that whichever tax that we are paying now, we are not made to pay. So either we pay and then we take it out at the end of the year, or whatever mechanism that they will bring will go a long way to help us, because we should not pay double taxation.
Away from the e-levy, Ghana Investment Promotion Center says it's targeting specific investors in agro-processing and manufacturing to complement the government's effort aimed at industrialization. To achieve this, the Chief Executive Officer of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, tells Joy Business the decision to focus on key investors in the manufacturing sector is targeted at reducing the export of raw materials as well as create jobs.
We have our own solutions. We have the Ghana Cares program, Ghana Cares Obatapa program, where the intention is to build back better and stronger. And certain specific economies were chosen: agriculture, agro-processing, infrastructure, and that's why we have an aggressive road infrastructure program, not just road, but a railway as well. I mean, what this government has in its plan is to build 4,007 kilometers of new railways that will connect the country north to south, east to west, and across, to make sure that as we go ahead with planting for food and jobs and one district, one factory policies, we are connected from farm gate to market, and from factory gate to market. There's efficiency. Railway will bring quite a bit of that efficiency. So the problems are being tackled in a systematic and strategic way. Change the way the economy is. Don't export all your raw materials and resources. Add value to them, but also connect, and then be a hub for the West. What should I say? West Africa. And I'm sure you also heard of that 10-point industrialization plan, where Ghana wants to be a hub in a number of sectors, like automobile, like pharmaceuticals, like technology. And we are now seeing Ghana also rise up in the tech space. Initially, it was all Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, but now Ghana is becoming critically important, and that is why companies like Twitter, Google, AI, United, and all these other big players, global players, are looking at Ghana. My job is to make sure that we even have stronger and more mutually rewarding partnerships with foreign direct investments, and so that is one of the things that we are key on.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says the government is working round the clock to ensure an ease in cost of living. Speaking to the Muslim community to commemorate Eid, Dr. Bawumia assures that key government projects and programs are being fast-tracked to consolidate economic recovery.
The pandemic severely drew the economy back from the massive progress the government had achieved between 2017 and 2019. This setback, without doubt, made life more difficult for citizens and government, as prices of goods soared across the world due to the abnormal increase of the cost of international freight. As if that was not enough, another setback in the form of the sudden global effects of the Russia-Ukraine war hit us at the beginning of this year, when our economy showed signs of bouncing back from the shackles of COVID-19. In spite of the unexpected destructive global factors which have severely hit our economy in the past 2 years, our government has not reneged on its development commitments to the people of Ghana in the areas of education, healthcare, and infrastructure development, amongst others.
Indigenous bank CalBank says it will strengthen its relationship with its merchants and customers by implementing a strategy to increase the adoption and use of its digital product. According to its managing director, Philip Oredu, the bank's two-day tech-driven and open-air event will provide market access for a variety of merchants and consumers to connect well with the bank. Here is more.
The CalBank Cashless is part of the bank's strategy to drive the uptake and utilization of its digital solutions. This is to create a market access for the host of merchants and consumers. The managing director for CalBank PLC, Mr. Oredu, revealed that it is to physically get in touch with its customers and merchants.
Of today's program is to collaborate with Accra Goods Markets to be able to ensure that as an institution, we all understand that marketing, selling, buying, payments, it's literally virtual now. Now, we all definitely would go out and go and shop. But in these days, we'd also have the opportunity of being able to shop virtually. So we are collaborating with on this program to ensure that we get close to our merchants, get to bring in people who would like to shop, get to know the merchants over here, get to know the products and services offered by CalBank so that we'll be able to engage our customers some more.
Some merchants expressed their excitement for the initiative and called for more to be done.
First of all, the organization and everything is on point. Everything is fine. We expect people to come in their numbers, to come support us and buy our various products. So basically that's what we are expecting from those that are yet to come purchase us. We look forward to other events.
It's good. This is my first fair that I've ever been. So I'm expecting great things. What I've heard so far, that is highly patronized, people buy, so I'm expecting great things.
A cashless market is the first of its kind for CalBank Ghana.
Let's go to Kumasi now, because a total of 200 farmers in selected districts in the Western and Ashanti regions have been trained to produce organic manure using animal droppings and cocoa pods. The project has the goal of reducing the use of inorganic manure on farms and boost harvest. There's more in the following report.
The SOS Green Project under the UN Capital Development Fund is promoting waste processing systems that require minimal mechanical equipment in the Asempaye, Framafao and Wasamenfi East districts. The objective is to effectively manage community waste and to utilize organic manure as fertilizer to reduce the presence of persistent organic pollutants in the environment while securing higher crop yields. According to the trainer on the project, Hamid Abdul Mumin, equipping small and medium-scale farmers with skills to produce organic fertilizer will conserve the earth.
The SOS and the UNCDF with SMV on the Green Project had a program to educate its youths and beneficiaries. The need for this is to help to curb the use of inorganic manure that is used on our farms, which have detrimental effects on the soil. Economically, as inorganic fertilizers are soaring out due to increase of prices of these materials, they getting these skills will help them to produce these organic fertilizers locally.
The Assistant Director of Agriculture in the Offenson North District revealed the shortage of fertilizer supply to vegetable farmers in the district is affecting yields. Patrick Amwa believes the training will solve the situation.
Now we see the inorganic fertilizers in the country. We have scarce inorganic fertilizers. But right now, as we have entered 2022 major farming season, the farmers find it difficult to access the inorganic fertilizers. As this training is welcome or organized, it's going to help the farmers to prepare their own fertilizer when the inorganic ones are not in. And nowadays, the vegetable farmers in the district complain a lot of getting inorganic fertilizers.
Some farmers say opting for manure to skyrocketing fertilizer prices will reduce cost and give their yields more boost than inorganic fertilizer.
We find it difficult to buy fertilizer to apply on our fruit. And as we've learned from this, it will help us a lot. Let's, for instance, when you take these 2 bags of poultry dropping and compare to the 2 bags of fertilizer or organic fertilizer, you'll see that this one is more. And then you can use it to apply your number of acres in which you farm, and it won't cost you much. Per bag of this poultry dropping is 5 cedis compared to urea, which is 500 Ghana.
The initiative by the UNCDF SOS Green Project is part of efforts to celebrate the 2022 World Earth.
AngloGold Ashanti has revealed it will sustain its indoor residual spraying in the Obuasi district to save more lives. The implementation of the spraying in the district has saved more than 1 million lives against malaria. There's more in the report.
Ghana accounts for 2.1% and 1.9% of the global malaria cases and deaths, making it one of the top 10 highest malaria-burdened countries in the world. The National Malaria Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025 aims for a 90% reduction in malaria mortality and a 50% reduction in malaria incidents by 2025. Director of AngloGold Ashanti Malaria Control Limited, Samuel Esiedweje, says ending malaria in the district remains a priority.
Indoor residual spraying will continue in Obuasi municipality and Obuasi East. One of the things that we try to do with our program is consistency and sustenance. So if we are not able to sustain it throughout the entire Ashanti region, then we wouldn't be able to do that. But the areas that we are spraying currently, we will continue to spray.
Health workers undergo training on effective case management of malaria in their Dancing North district. The district health director, Isaac Owuku Odame, noted increased investment and commitment from the government and the public sector is critical to revitalizing progress against malaria. He spoke at a World Malaria Day program organized by the AngloGold Ashanti at Dumpuase.
We need to intensify our efforts so that going forward we will be able to achieve the malaria control reduction objectives, because we are expected to reduce the number of cases of malaria by applying the interventions. The interventions include the use and mass distribution and use of bed nets. Successfully, we did that and achieved about 97% this year.
A mini clinic was set up by the gold mining company for community members to test for malaria. Speaking at the 2022 Community Health Outreach Program, Nanahema Efiatokujum, Queen Mother of Dumpuase, appealed to AngloGold to sustain the initiative. Some items, including insecticide nets, mosquito repellent, and medicated soaps, were donated to Dumpuase Senior High School to commemorate the day.
Mozartbet Ghana has presented a brand new iPhone 13 and headset to its lucky winners in the first weekly prizes. According to the head of publicity for the betting company, Sharon Aite, this to foster the relationship the company has with its players. She urged all and sundry to join the promo and win the ultimate prize. James Eshen has more.
The Hits the Highest Odds promotion is an initiative by the company to encourage healthy competition among its players. This is the first time such offers have been made by any betting operator in Ghana during the first 8 months of its existence. Winners of the first weekly won iPhones and headsets. Madam Aite, the company's head of publicity, indicated that players are rest assured of getting their prizes after winning.
So today we are here to present the weekly awards, and in the next coming weeks to also promote the grand prize, which is the car. So I entreat everyone to log on to Mozartbet to keep betting and win the car.
Some of the winners for the week were elated and described it as surprising for a betting company to run such promotion.
I just placed the bet of the odd was 57 cities, and I placed it 5 cities. So I was just there yesterday. I had a call. I won a headphone, so I just came here to receive it. Oh, I feel happy because I wasn't expecting it. But I feel happy.
I think it means a lot to me because I've been betting quite a long time, but I've never won anything like this. So for the first time, I've won an iPhone. So it means a lot to me. Yeah. Yes, of course, I do enjoy competition. And because there's a car on it, next 2 weeks I'll also be coming for it. So I entreat everybody to take part of the competition. Yes.
Serbian ambassador to Ghana, Milutin Stanjevic, entreated players to take such opportunities to win the ultimate prize.
For the presence of Serbia, we already have several companies in Ghana, but I think this kind of promotion is very important for get to know each other much better. So I'm so happy that people like the man who received the award is especially. He traveled 10 hours to receive the award. I mean, he's not from Accra. That it means that all around Ghana, MotorBet is well known now. I hope it will be, our company will be more and more from each day known to Ghanaian people.
The promotion runs and ends on the 15th of May 2022.
That's all for Prime Business. Do log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more stories.
And 4 coaches have been nominated for the Nasco Coach of the Month Award for March. That's in the Ghana Premier League. Bicham United's FC's Kasim Mingle, House of Folk Samuel Boedu, Umar Abdul Rabi of Mediama, and Abdul Karim Zito have all been nominated. Now, Kasim Mingle played a total of 4 matches, won 2, drew 2 in March. Abdul Karim Zito, Samuel Boedu, and Umar Abdul Rabi all won 2 matches, drew once, and lost 1 out of 4 matches as well. The winner will be announced on Friday. Karim Zito is, of course, of Dreams FC. And moving on to other things, this weekend was dominated by the news that the former captain of the Ghana national team, Asamoah Gyan, launched his much anticipated book at the Kempinski Hotel in Accra, titled Legendary, which is a play on words on his name and him being a legend. The book chronicles the life and career of Africa's leading goal scorer at the FIFA World Cup. Here are extended highlights of the event.
Thank you. We like amplifying negatives and suppressing positives. But this man here, especially in our meetings, when it came up for some of the controversial moments, and we asked him, Asa, do you want this in the book? Tronina! That's what he would say. Write everything. Because as you would see in the blurb, he says that he does not want your sympathy. He just wants his side of the story told, because it seems that for a long time, only one side of the story has been told. Congratulations on your book, Asamoah Gyan. Thank you. You just watched your documentary, or the documentary that was done for you, more accurately. How did you feel?
Before I speak, I would like to acknowledge my friends over there, those who are making the report.
It'd be like if you don't talk.
If people don't know, when I played in Dubai, I lived in Dubai for 5 years. And I lived with them in the same house for 5 years. You know. So, yeah. So back to your question. I felt.
Hold on. You sure say you give them the fans finish?
I give them the fans. We'll continue at home. So.
At home, okay. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, watching this like a surprise to me. The team have done an incredible job. They did everything behind me. I didn't know who they interviewed. When I was watching, got to a time I got emotional. You know, and I'm still very emotional right now. But yeah, at least people who know Samoa Jan don't really know the real Samoa Jan. You know, somebody see me as the outspoken type, you know, the more energetic type, but they don't know the emotional type. You know, so I felt very, very emotional, honestly, you know, watching myself all these years. Although I've been watching some videos about me, but, you know, the comments of great men of our land, you know, watching me through all these years, acknowledging what I've done, saying what they said about me, it made me very, very emotional. Sit down and ask myself, why? That hated part, you know, sometimes I ask myself questions. And then I came to understand that it comes with the territory. I put myself into this position. When I started, nobody knew who Asamoah Gyan was. It got to a time they knew it. And with the support of my brother, who I always mention, you know, I'm very emotional right now, but he is the key. He's the one behind my success. Sometimes criticisms and everything comes, people blame him for him being a bad influence or something, but they don't know what he has done behind the scene. I'm the one who knows it. And this is what makes the book very, very interesting. You know, right now, your question is, I have to answer your question. I would like to thank everybody who devoted their time, all the dignitaries around, my friends, my fans, my critics. I'm sure everybody is here. And of course, the man of the land is on his way coming. And he has done a lot, the former president, John Dramani Mahama. There is one minister who I loved so much. He was a former sports minister. Mr. Mahama Ayariga. He was a friend before becoming a minister, and I acknowledge what he has done for me personally. And our former minister, Mr. Yiti Mensah, sports minister, he has done a lot. And then everybody who came here to support me. And I would like to thank everybody for the love shown to me tonight. You know, so next question.
Next question, he says. The next question. Now, after thanking everybody, I mean, we look at the book you've written. We have established that it is a trail-blazing document. Asa, if you didn't know, I put it to you that you have become, by this work, by this step, the first footballer in the great history of Ghana. Please give it up for him.
I am extremely humbled to be here today because today looks like our birthday. I am humbled because once special person has given me an opportunity to be part of this special day in the history of the Ghanaian sport. And this special person has ensured that at all times he is special. The man who has brought us here today, first best on the Ghanaian football scene way back in 2003. And I remember seeing him in the strips of Dansuma-based Liberty Professionals in so many games. The man who has brought us here today rose through the ranks and became Ghana's all-time top scorer, Africa's all-time at the Mondial, became the captain of Ghana, and Baby Jet became the general captain also of Ghana. This man is uniquely unique because he is not only a successful footballer, he doesn't only belong to the class called legends. He is a successful entrepreneur. He is a philanthropist. He helps not thousands, but millions of people.
I want to give a big congratulations to Captain Asamoah Gyan and his entire team for putting up such a show. Bravo and kudos. Before I go on with the citations, I think it's very important for him to start writing his own book. We went together to Abedi Pele, and Abedi Pele showed him that he wrote a book as well in the early 90s. So you are following suit in a very big manner. I also want to address that it's important to honor our legends with certain facilities to be named after them. Those who have won the African Cup for us 4 times, players need to be remembered. I remember that when you go to Ajax Amsterdam and you want to use, the WC, you see the name of Johan Cruyff. So every generation who comes will know who Johan Cruyff has been. So I believe it's also important to honor our legends whilst they are alive and kicking.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, and it's a big honor for me to be able to say that the book, Legendary, the autobiography of Asamoah Gyan, duly launched.
Let's go to Europe, to the Champions League, where Carlo Ancelotti has admitted that Real Madrid will have to gamble if they are to come from behind to beat Man City in the semi-final. Madrid trailed 4-3 after a thrilling first leg in Manchester last week as they look to pull off yet another comeback and to reach the club's first Champions League final since 2018. Right, so that's for tomorrow. Today, though, Liverpool-Villarreal. Liverpool were unable to fly out of the blocks like they did last week. And guess what? It was Villarreal who got into a 2-goal lead. But Liverpool, being Liverpool, have won the match night and 5-2 on aggregate. Liverpool, inevitable, aren't they? Like Thanos. Anyway, that final will be in Paris. Will it be Liverpool versus Manchester City, an all-English affair, or it will be Liverpool looking to get revenge against Real Madrid if that happens? We'll be bringing you updates of that tomorrow on Prime Sports. Thank you for your time today. I'm Gary Al Smith. Let's do some more chatting with the rest of the Joy Sports team in the following social media channels.